Hello. Tonight we have Slammin' Doors and Slammin' Bodies. Stay tuned for Vivica's Black Magic After Show here on AfterBuzz TV.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
I had to start out with my boy Bruno Mars. Hello, welcome. I know you guys missed us last week, but we are back. This is your girl Tsahai with Vivica's Black Magic. We are covering season 1, episode 5 and 6 tonight. I will let you know who I am. I'm Tsahai, and you can find me at Say Hi Tsahai on YouTube, on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. And who do I have with me tonight?
Hey guys, TK Trinidad in the house. We have a lot of things to go through, but you can follow me on all social media at TK Trinidad, just like the country. You can look it up; it's all there.
We got T squared tonight. We're missing Heather, but we have a lot to cover, so let's get right into it. So last week, I know you guys may have missed us, but we were actually on a little bit of a field trip, TK, right?
It was interesting.
We were invited by a team of PR people to come to a viewing party for Vivica's Black Magic, and it wasn't my first time seeing the boys perform, but it was TK's, and I cannot wait to give you some insight.
It was very interesting.
We took some footage, we got some pictures. Let's roll that footage so everyone can see what we did.
How does it feel to have a hit show?
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing. Here we are, episode number 5 of Vivica's Black Magic, and I just want to thank all the fans for their amazing support. You guys had us trending tonight. They were blowing up with their quotes and their tweets, and I just love you guys so much. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for more. I'm in the house with my squad, starting over there with
White Chocolate, Greg Jackson from Baltimore.
next up,
Slam, you already know, sexy like a motherfucker.
Slam that gives the ultimate pelvic roll. That was trending tonight, just so you know, my brother. Okay, next up we got
Young Penetration, Young Pino, the Stroker, whatever you want to call me.
whatever you want to call it. And then tonight your nickname was Sparks.
We got the one and only Prophet, the Problem. Yes, Bay Area, stand up. What's happening?
Yeah, next up we got Cameron. I love my boys. All my boys show up. They show us love. Who we got? Look, always smiling.
Yo, what's up? It's your man Stephen Beck, also known as Charm, coming at you from Phoenix, out here to LA with Black Magic, baby. Vivica's Black Magic.
This is the one and only Prince Slow Motion, aka Christian Dennis. You can catch me on Lifetime, 10 o'clock Wednesdays.
Well, the main goal of Vivica's Black Magic is that we want to get a residency in Las Vegas. We want to get a season 2 so that we can keep exploring the wonderful and sexy world of male exotic dancing. Compliments to your girl.
Thank you so much for being with us, and congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys during the show or after.
Buzz you later.
So guys, we went to this viewing party. We had a performance by a few of the dancers. Again, I worked on the show. I knew it was kind of a bit of a mini reunion for me, so it was really nice getting to see everybody I haven't seen them since the summer when we filmed. TK, tell me your impressions of a live Black Magic performance.
Wow.
You still seem speechless.
Yeah, it's very, so I've had experience, I've gone to a lot of female strip clubs, and, you know, I actually did a thesis on it and all this other stuff. So I've been to quite a few female strip clubs, and I'm aware of the male strip clubs, but I appreciate their hard work, but I know why I don't frequent them.
Okay,
it was interesting.
Was there anything that you did enjoy about the performance?
I did like their performances. They were great dancers. It's just not like my thing. Give me a guy in like boy shorts,
okay,
and like, you know, who can clean and take care of the kids and cook, and like that turns me on.
Right.
The chapless pants and the one guy, what is his name, Hardbody?
Yes.
He looked amazing, but the sock and the
the moving sock. So,
yeah.
guys, what TK is referencing is that there was an additional performer who's not part of the television show, but he was on the set last week that had some material over his genitalia,
yes,
and was able to move it very rapidly. I found it fascinating. There was fringe, you know.
It was just it's like the sock that you put on when you kind of do like those scenes for guys, and then you know it was just heavily decorated.
Yes,
it was. I saw him. I think I saw him before he went out to perform, and I noticed him. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
he's too pretty just to be walking around, so he has to be a dancer because he was just like
super diesel,
so
and confident. I mean, to walk around in that ensemble, you have to be very confident.
Well, there was no body fat on him. He
Not
looked
at
amazing.
all.
The thing about those guys, all those guys made me just want to go back to the gym.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I need to like continue working out and be on my game because I want to like not look like that,
exactly,
but have my body on point.
Yeah, they are
kudos to you guys.
Definitely Fitspiration. Shout out to Vivica and L Group PR and all the guys that had us there. It was definitely fun. They've added some new things to the repertoire, but what was great, tell me, come on now, you may not have loved it, but the audience loved it.
Oh my gosh, no, I've been telling a lot of people about it. So again, it's even though it's not my thing, I can appreciate the hard work.
Yeah.
The audience, they were in to win it. Like they had the dollars, they had the dancing, the guys used the stage, they used the audience. It was the audience, they knew what they came there for.
Definitely.
And Vivica, she knows her audience.
And she's like the hostess with the mostest.
Yeah.
Like she definitely keeps the crowd going.
She had the dollar bills for them. If you needed change, they were handing out the change.
Exactly.
Like she was prepared.
Yeah, what I love about when she's there at a performance is that, you know, the crowd, ladies love knowing that Viv's there. And once she's there, it's like, okay, the party can definitely get started. So it was a good time. It wasn't a bad way to spend a Wednesday night.
It was not. It was not. I'm just, you know, I haven't, hopefully, he might see this episode. Sorry. So yeah, it was
Would you go back?
I would go back. So it's not something like, again, it's just not something, it's not necessarily my thing that I would do like on a day off. Because I know a lot of people, actually, ironically, I shouldn't say that. But I know a lot of people who actually go to, anyways, my ex's mother loves, like, that's her, like, she goes there.
It's a way to relax. Yeah.
So I know a lot of people who go there. It's just, again, give me a guy in like some, not Fruit of the Loom, like Calvin Klein.
Okay, so you want some boxer briefs. Okay,
you know,
I see.
I'm good with that. Like, you know, good, nice body, Calvin Klein boxer briefs.
Simple.
Clean the house, cook some food.
You just want a simple man.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Preferably over 6 feet tall.
That's not always the case. But speaking of the audience, I just want to say thank you to everyone that tunes in each week. Please continue to follow us on YouTube and wherever playlists are found, on Spotify and Apple Music, anywhere you can listen.
iTunes, definitely leave the comments on the YouTube too, because I definitely read them.
Yeah.
So, and then we also are doing a live chat. So you want to hit us up during the chat. If you have any questions or, you know, want to talk about the experiences, let us know for sure.
And if you've been to a viewing party or any of the guys' performances, let us know what you think about that, because I'd love to hear. Because also I saw some of the regulars that I would see when we were filming. I saw them at that show. So, you know, they have definitely some loyal fans.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, definitely, like, body, everything's like on point. Their dancing's on point. It's gonna be interesting to see. What I would love to see, what I definitely would go back to, is if it was a bigger stage, and I want to definitely see how they work the stage and the audience, and an audience that's not necessarily used to them. So like, I don't want to say if, when Vivica gets the Las Vegas, and now you have people from all walks of life, I definitely want to see how they work the audience.
Definitely.
So that's, you know, I'm really looking forward to that.
And then we'll see a little bit of that when we get into episode 6. But let's start with episode 5, called Ready for Vegas.
Yes.
So we have Vivica. She brought in Marklin Kennedy. He's an expert. He has, you know, worked with shows in Vegas before, and she wanted to get, you know, an opinion of the group. So she has him come to visit. Marklin seemed, you know, excited about the show, and his assistant especially seemed excited about having women, you know, see this new type of male review.
Right.
And then we also see that Vivica wants Darrin back.
Yeah.
And she asked Eureka to kind of eat crow and get Darrin back.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts about that?
Oh my gosh, what was the dancer, the choreographer from last week?
Javanta.
So she was good, but like we discussed the last show, she wasn't a good fit.
Right.
So I definitely agree with you. in times like this, especially when it's like your project, you kind of want to, it's one of those things where it's either you go with what you know or you pay, you know, a ridiculous amount of money to get the job done.
Right.
Anything in between is just not going to work.
Yeah.
So she's known Darrin for several years.
Exactly.
And knowing the fact that, you know, he does other projects and he might have to leave here or there. But again, they're all grown men. They're all dancers.
Yeah.
They should be able to get the choreography. So, you know, go with what you know. And if you're comparing the two as far as the final project, he definitely has just a smoother take on it.
Definitely.
So I definitely agree
Do you
with
think
that.
it was like a male-female thing, though? Like the guys where it was easier for them to take instruction from another guy as opposed to a woman who was kind of, you know, they had already worked with Darrin before and then this new, you know, person came in. Do you think that was
I think it has to do with the
huge part of
presence
it?
because Javanta seems a little bit on the younger side. So, you know, I don't know how old she is. You know, black don't crack, so she might be 35 for all I know. But she seems definitely on the younger side of things, and she seemed a little bit more on the timid side of things.
Really?
Yeah, not timid to the point where they, you know, would just completely take advantage of her, but the body language and everything I was reading is just like, you know, is a lot on her plate. And then she had what, 8 guys who, you know, she had to kind of work all
Wrangle,
that.
yeah.
And dealing with, it's like when you're dealing with that many men in such a small, you know, a little bit of time, it's like, I wish she would have had a little bit more time and developed some type of relationship and then see how that played out. But the dynamic just didn't work. If you had somebody like, oh my gosh, you know, I don't know if you remember, this is like way back, like Leslie from BET. She was like a host.
Oh, Big Les?
Big Les.
Yes.
Yeah, Big Les come in.
Okay,
like,
I could see that.
You know what I'm saying? And did that. There would be no way.
And yeah, she
she'd
definitely
handle
had
it.
a strong personality.
Right.
So I could see what you were saying. You know, Javanta was cool. I think she did a good job, but I definitely think it was difficult for the guys to kind of listen to somebody new. And maybe that's because they did feel like she was a little bit timid and they just
you need a strong personality to deal with all those personalities. For sure.
Definitely. So Eureka has to go and ask Darrin to come back. Would you have been able to put your pride aside and say, okay, I told you to leave, but now I need you back?
I mean, you don't have a choice. Like, you either do it or don't. Like, but don't come with excuses. Right. So, and I think Vivica's kind of set it up where, you know, she knows that there's no option. It's like you
just get it done.
The next time you come back, you better be back with the answer that I told you to go and get.
And bring your A game.
So, you know, and I think Darrin is definitely reasonable. I love the fact that he has principles and he sticks to it. Yeah. And it's just kind of like, this is how I am, and if you choose to cross these lines, then, you know, oh well. But I'll definitely accept your, like, he's grown. Yeah. He's willing to listen to apologies and, you know, come back. And then of course I definitely believe he has like a limit.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
Like, all right, cool,
which we later see. Oh. So before we get to that, now Viv also at this point, White Chocolate the week before, he was kind of banished, and he sat down with Viv and talked to her about, you know, what was going on in his life and how there's some stress with the fact that he has to fly across the country each week. You know, I mean, but she asked him if he really wants to be there. Did you feel like that he was being sincere? Yeah, it's kind of one of those situations in anything. Like if you take actors or anybody who moves to Los Angeles, you know, your initial, you know, majority of people that I know who come, they don't come with the agent, they don't come with all that stuff, so they have to struggle. Yeah. So I definitely see where he's coming from, but it's kind of like you almost have to, you know, eat the top ramen for a year. Okay, you have to struggle to make it to get to that big house. Opposed to, you know, I saw a lady today at the Grove. She was driving a really nice Beamer, but the back of that car and the passenger seat was full of a whole bunch of clothes. Hey, it bees like that sometimes. So I'm just saying, if you want to live that lavish lifestyle, like, you got to sacrifice. So, lady, get out of that Beamer and get an apartment. And get a Kia. Yeah. Do you think White Chocolate has it a little bit harder because he's the only white guy? Do you think that's his struggle? No, I call it, oh shoot, I forgot. I have a term, down for the cause. Okay. So these are folks, it doesn't matter what color you are, but you're just not black. These are folks who just, they're not trying. Right. They just are. Yeah. Yeah, so I have like my best friend, she's Vietnamese. She grew up, I'm from Toronto. I don't know, I probably said that like a million times. She grew up in like the hood of Toronto. Right. And we would have all been surprised if she
didn't marry a black guy.
Right.
Like she married an Asian guy, would be like, this is not
Like, how'd
right.
that happen?
Right.
Right.
So I met White Chocolate, super nice guy.
Isn't he
super
a sweetheart?
Teddy bear
know,
like.
I know.
And he just seems like he's not trying.
And I think that's why he works well with this group, because he's not trying to be something that he isn't.
Right.
This is just, he's just one of those people that fit into the community, and he was able to make that work for him.
Right. And black people always have we're a forgiving bunch. So like
Definitely.
we just if you want to hang out, cool, but don't try to.
Yeah, if he was trying to like speak a different way or dress a different way that wasn't authentic to him, then I don't think the guys would have been accepting.
And you can
of
always
him.
see that.
Oh, totally, you can
People,
see straight
guys, I'm just saying for you folks, that's if you try and it's being noticed. So
that doesn't come off well. So Henri, the wardrobe stylist and designer, she comes up with this idea for futuristic costumes for this week. What did you think of the costumes this week?
I love the goggles.
Yeah,
the goggles are really great. I thought the whole costume was gonna be silver, but overall, I mean, the costume. There's nothing wrong with the costumes, and I don't know if we want to like skip to like the whole end of what the comments that Markland made about the costumes, but the comments he made about the costumes, and then kind of fast forward to episode 6, and I don't want to jump all over the place.
Right.
It kind of seems like there were small adjustments, but what he's talking about is like a whole nother level. It's like,
yeah, they're not. I don't think they're there yet. They're building up to that, hopefully. But I think it was a good remark that he did make. Markland basically made the comment that he needed more from the costumes, and they're working with a 1 week time span between performances. So I think they're doing the best that they can.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely kudos. Sewing is not
at all.
Sewing that many suits and alterations and all that stuff is not
for 8 guys.
Yeah.
So we have Henri come up with these costumes, but then we also have a Darrin Alvester showdown. Now this is kind of what it has been brewing for a while, and it seems like Alvester has hit his limit. Darrin comes in, he's like, I need you to do this, and Alvester's like, nah, I can't, my knee hurts. Now Alvester did tell Darrin, look, my knee hurts, I'm not just complaining to be complaining. Right. Do you think Darrin overreacted?
It's one of those, it's one of those things. I think he might have pulled him aside, because I think he did. I think what would have changed everything if he pulled him aside before they started practicing and just say, hey, like my knee hurts, I'm gonna do as much as I can. But the fact that he did it in the group, and then the exchange between the two of them, because Alvester or Darrin was correcting him. It's like trying to kind of like, this is how you would want to say it, and he's like, no, I'm saying it like this. Right. Essentially, I'm just gonna do as much as I want to do. Right. Not as much as my body can do. Right. So that was kind of that exchange.
That exchange, for me, sometimes it's just like, okay, whatever, let's just move on. Right. But Alvester, I could tell that he was just upset he didn't want Darrin telling him the way to speak, the way to phrase his words, and he was like, he had already hit his limit.
But sometimes it could be a misunderstanding.
Right, so a miscommunication.
Somebody just says, hey, is this what you mean? And they say it in a certain way, then it's like, you have to take a step back, and it's like, okay, am I saying this in an aggressive manner? Because at the end of it, Darrin's the one who is in the position of power.
Right, and I think that's always been a struggle for Alvester to say, okay, here's another week where I have to listen to somebody that I may not necessarily want to work with, but I'm being forced to. And I think in this episode, he had it. So we see that the guys end up inviting Alvester to come over to the house to talk about it, and this is where he gets upset. Like, he's like, yo, what are you doing? Why are we constantly having problems? Do you think he had a point? Like, Alvester's always the one causing the issues amongst the group?
Yeah, I think how do you come down from that? He's worked with Beyonce, he's toured the world, he's been dancing since he was 5. So I definitely see that, and I don't think anybody who's kind of had that kind of, they've made it in life to an extent, to come back down from that and then have people tell them what to do is very, very difficult.
And humbling.
So I think this is the first time where he had to experience that, where he felt that, he was better than others versus, actually learning from the group that he's in. Right. So I really think that, I'm hoping that he's going to look back at all this and take a step back and realize that you're going to learn from this experience.
Yeah. Now, Vivica finds out about this fight, this showdown between Darrin and Alvester, and she basically, last week it was White Chocolate being banished, and in this episode, Alvester was banished, but he did not listen. He ends up showing up. What do you think about that? Do you think he did it because he wanted to really support the guys? Was that genuine? Or he was like, I'm not listening to you. I'm going to do what I want to do. You can't tell me what to do.
When I first saw it, I saw him walk in. I thought it was genuine. I thought, it's like, hey, I could really lose this opportunity.
Right.
And I want to be a part of this opportunity. So let me go in good faith to, support the crew.
Right.
But then when Vivica, they had the meeting, it was just like, okay, well, I understand her point of view, but I don't think he doesn't come off like that type of vindictive person.
Well, he did say F black magic. He seemed like at this point, he just was like, forget everybody, I'm done.
I mean, people say crazy things all the time.
And it could have been the pain of the knee speaking.
Right.
He was injured.
He was injured and he
Yeah.
just had a fight with Darrin and they were
Yeah.
going back and forth. And he was I think he felt like everybody was getting, when he said that, I felt like everybody was kind of ganging up on him.
That's true.
So I'll give him that. Based off of everything I've seen, he doesn't seem like that type of vindictive person.
Yeah.
That he would do that just because.
Just to
so
upset her.
I mean, but again,
But you
this is what
never
I've
know.
seen.
You never know people's motives. So Marklin at the end of episode 5 says he doesn't think the guys are ready and he needs them to step their game up.
Right.
Do you feel like he was, valid in making that concern?
There's an interesting thing. He used the word aggressive, and it's kind of funny. I'm trying to think of the politically correct version of how I'm going to do this, but it's kind of funny because I think based off the culture,
right,
we're very in some instances where it's anyways. My dating experiences, black men tend to be aggressive and to the point.
Okay. Sometimes. So you think Marklin just wasn't accustomed to that?
I don't think he was accustomed to that.
Okay.
Because for instance, it'll take a white guy to ask me out. It'll take him 3 weeks to ask me out,
Right.
and it'll take the black dude, less than 20 minutes.
Whether he got no job,
Right.
car, house to live in,
yeah,
nothing
it's just kind of
stops him.
he's just pitching it,
Right.
And
he's gonna take his shot.
Yeah, take a shot. So I've just noticed that black men, not in a negative way, they
Right.
just tend to be very assertive.
The approaches are different.
The approach is very different.
Okay.
So, and again, this is my whole first foyer of seeing male exotic dancers. So I don't know what the white guys are. I don't know what Thunder Down Under is like.
Well, we get to see that
Right.
in episode 6. So the next week and this week's episode, we see the unique stylings of Thunder from Down Under. Now, before we get to Thunder from Down Under, we see the guys with Marklin setting up a meeting for Viv with Anita Mann. Now, Anita Mann has a female popular Vegas group called
burlesque.
Fantasy. Yes. I actually got a chance to see both groups perform when I was in Vegas, and it's amazing to see how they really they make it a performance, like
Right.
a show. It's not sleazy. It's actually fun. It's something that girls and guys can do together. At Fantasy, there were couples there. It was something that couples did, just like
Right.
when people go to a strip club together. So that was interesting to see. But in this episode, we also see Prophet and his daughter, Diamond, who is
Super cute.
adorable.
Very, very intelligent.
And then we
super
find
cute.
out that she didn't know that her dad danced, or at least he felt that she didn't know
Right.
specifically what he did. What did you think
Which
about
is
their
kind of
relationship?
funny because in 2017, I'm scared just to be a parent. There's just
Yeah.
so much with all she has to do is Google search. So
Google, just go to Instagram or
right.
Twitter. Or,
So it's kind of funny that he would think. I don't know if she has a phone or all
Right.
that is, but it's just kind of funny to think that he didn't think that she knew.
Yeah.
And the fact that she did know, and she just didn't have a problem with it, and you can see how he's such a good father
Yeah.
because all she really wants is to spend time with him.
Exactly.
Versus, and she's a teenager.
Yeah.
That's not.
because by this time, usually they're like, I don't even want to talk to you, much less
So
go play
no
a miniature
daddy
golf.
issues for her. So
Yeah.
good job.
But I
for
think
sure.
that speaks a lot to Prophet as a father, and
yeah.
it was nice to see a father and a daughter together because that relationship is so important, and to see that although he is a man that is a male exotic dancer for a living, his family is and his relationship
important.
with his daughters is still a priority. So Vivica ends up having a meeting with Alvester. where she asked him, do you want to be here? And he says that he does, but we also see that, you know, he's torn because he has his music career.
Right.
Now, we haven't focused much on his music career, but do you think that's what's kind of also causing some underlying issues with Alvester? Like just the fact that he's not able to focus on the things that he wants to?
I kind of feel like, I know, and Vivica did say it, she said that she wanted him to be part of it because he's the best dancer out of the group.
Right.
However, it's one of those things where she benched him last week and she's had problems with him. I would have probably just cut ties.
You would have said, Alvester, I'm done with you?
Right, because it's LA.
Oh, you can be replaced.
Everybody can be replaced.
Okay, hardcore TK.
I mean, I'm surprised. I thought this was going to be the final straw, and then I saw the commercial, and then it's like, oh, he's still back. But
right.
I thought this was going to be it. Like, I thought it's like, you know what? Because she's trying to get money, she's trying to do all this other stuff.
Right, she has a business
to
run.
The last thing you want to do is worry about somebody possibly getting into a fight with somebody else and they're not agreeing and they're not,
right.
you know, so that's the last thing you want to worry about.
Yeah.
So, you know, kudos to Vivica for keeping him on, because I would have been like,
I think she saw a big picture, because honestly, when you see Alvester, once he starts dancing, you can tell like dancing is his life.
Right.
It is his love. You can see the fact that he's been doing it since he was a child. Like his movements he moves with his entire soul. And I love to see a performer. I love to see people that are passionate about what they do.
Right.
And that's what we see from Alvester all the time.
No, definitely not taking the talent away. The talent is there, but in the long term, because
all the other things that
come along with it. So say they do get to Vegas, you know, that's a couple shows a night, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Like, when is he gonna have time if he really wants to do singing? That's something that you need to concentrate on as well. So, you know,
I think he's a little torn.
Yeah, in the long run. And then the knee issue too. Knees, it's no joke. And that cryo.
Have you done it before?
I have, and I do have knee problems. So it's not.
Did it help?
It did. So cryo essentially is like you'll go and it's like minus 120. But back in the day when I was running track, we used to do ice tubs. So it's the same thing.
Okay.
But it's just worse because ice tub is like depending on what time of the day you go to the facility, the water will either be in there or you have to watch the water, and then you spend literally 5 minutes mentally prepping yourself to get in the water, and you slowly go in, and then you have to be in there for like 2 to 5 minutes.
So it's kind of like when you go to the Korean spa here and you have like the cold tub and then the hot tub, and you just go back and forth. Okay.
Yeah. So
nice.
it's terrible, but you know, it does.
Is it effective?
Oh, it's very effective.
Well, I mean, so what I loved about that scene is that we saw Alvester get emotional and talk about the loss of his
grandparents.
Or
his parents,
yeah, and the fact that he's financially supporting, you know, his grandmother. So we see that these guys, finances, family matters are things that are weighing on them.
Right.
But they continue to push through each week but sometimes it just spills over, and you got to slam a door and take off a mic.
Money is it's kind of one of those situations where it makes you do their crazy stuff, or you kind of almost have to hold true to what you're trying to do.
Right.
And if you waver from believing in yourself, that's where the problems happen.
Exactly.
So I definitely think that he needs to make a decision, because on the flip side, he's good enough. He's a great dancer where he can go on another tour.
Yeah.
So it's like,
unless that knee injury is more extensive than we know.
Right.
Yeah.
So say it's kind of more of a slight injury and he needs some rehab, he can go on another tour, but in between tours he can do his music.
Yeah.
Then maybe Black Magic is not a good fit for him.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely a decision he's going to have to make, because you can't do both really. Unless,
right.
I mean, I guess he saw Beyonce do it. She sings, she dances. So maybe he feels like he could be the next one.
Nobody's Beyonce.
I mean, she slowed down now that she got the twins. Congratulations.
Has she really? We don't know. She's gonna be in Coachella. She's performing at the Grammys.
I know, it's gonna be amazing.
So,
I can't wait to see that. Maybe Alvester will just pop up on stage with her. That'd be amazing.
That would be good.
I would love that. So Alvester decides to apologize to Darrin. Again, we have another person apologizing. For me, I can apologize to people to just push through, and the long-term goal is what I keep my sights on. Like, okay, it's not about me, it's about the group.
Right.
Would you have been able to apologize to Darrin? They cursed at each other.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because you get to a point, and how he did the apology was very effective, because he didn't do those cheesy "I'm sorry."
No, this is my favorite. I'm sorry that you felt that I upset you.
Yeah, I don't.
The fake apology.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
my favorite.
like all that. I like the fact that he he essentially said, we might not agree on a personal level, but we're both here to work. That's essentially what he said. And I love that because now you can agree on something and you both are on the same path versus I'm sorry that I did this and this and that. Like, nobody wants to hear that. Nobody's going to believe it.
Exactly.
So I love the way that he apologized because Darren's like, I think that was an apology, but I'll take it. Let's go. So, and he proved his point.
Right. So the theme this week was Wild Wild West, which was exciting to see. But what I also liked is that they had duos this week.
Yep.
So let's talk about the duos' performances. First of all, okay, we have Alvester and Heat's performance where there was some sucking of toes. Would you have allowed that to happen if you were one of those ladies? If they pulled you up on stage, would you have allowed Heat and Alvester?
I wouldn't have gone on stage, but if they didn't.
No, it's not your thing.
I mean, I don't mind it, but then I'm gonna like wonder like how many other toes are you like? Not to say I'm gonna be doing him like after that, but it's just like how many, and then it kind of is a slippery slope because then I'm thinking how many girls are you like sucking toes with, and then that doesn't turn me on because then it feels like you're just doing it to everybody.
But you know, I mean, the fact that what I loved about it was like nothing. He wasn't scared. He was not scared at all. He was like, you know what? I'm a performer. I'm gonna do this
toes are
for
body
the ladies
parts too. Don't be scared, guys. Just, toes are body parts too. Take a shower. You know, test it out.
Some people are afraid of feet, but yet he was not. You know, Alvester, you surprise me all the time.
He said he checked out her feet.
And then
it would have been kind of funny. I like a blooper reel where somebody else and she just did not get that pedicure.
Like black feet on the bottom.
She just didn't get that pedicure. So I mean, kudos to him.
Speaking of pedicure, we move on to Slow Motion and Steven, who did a slight pedicure banana combo. What were your thoughts on that?
I didn't like that one. It was the banana and how he was looking at her, and he was like looking at her with a sexual look. Essentially, it was supposed to be
a lot going on.
Yeah, and then
it was too much. Like I'd like get like a little nervous with having two men on me at the same time. One putting something in my mouth and on my feet. This was like too much.
And then what happens to the rest of the audience? It's like because now these ladies are looking at another lady getting opposed to them.
Some people
interacting.
may be into that. We don't know.
It's true.
We don't know.
That was just a little bit too much for me.
So then we had White Chocolate and Prophet with the puppets. Now, what were your thoughts on that? I mean, I thought it was super creative.
Right. It was cute given the fact that they both don't have a choreographer,
like a dance background.
Background.
I thought that pairing was cute. I loved seeing White Chocolate and both of them in that button-down white shirt.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, we
White
see
Chocolate
them.
in general is just a teddy bear all over.
I know. He's so adorable. Like, I like seeing them without clothes, but sometimes when they like dress up, it's nice to see that change.
I don't.
No, you want them naked?
Not naked.
The boxer
shirts
briefs
off.
again.
Boxer briefs, shirts off. So I think who was next? Was it Penetration and Bolo?
Yeah.
And they had like almost like I don't even know what their theme was. It was just kind of like thugged out. Was it Timberlands and jeans? That's what it looked like it to me.
It was something like that. They had like jeans, shirtless, and then they had like these silver heavy belts around them. That's what I remember seeing.
Yes, it was kind of like New York vibe. Timberlands, some jeans. Like I'll
Just
do
simple.
that. That by far, and if they had like and I think they might have had hats on, but that by far is
that was good enough for you.
I'm good.
Now, what I loved, Bolo has me laughing every week. Like I can't stop laughing because he's so hilarious. I think did we see him in this signature red outfit this week again? Because it is a cowboy. In his solo, but he did one of his signature body slams on this lady and. I feared for her hips, for her legs. Like, how do you survive?
I think actually, so Bolo, if you're actually like watching this, or you can let him know, he has a career in WWE.
I could see that.
He has a career because what he does, what I noticed, and what I think he does, is when he does the flip, he puts his arms out, so he's not really hitting the lady.
Right.
He's actually taking the brunt of it. So he's literally just tapping her, but he's so strong that it appears like so that is such a classic WWE move. So I mean, I don't know how much money you're making, but.
What does he do? Does he like body splash this girl?
Yes.
Yeah, something.
Yes,
like this.
It's like how you jump off. You jump off
the top.
Yes.
Yeah, he leaps in between her legs
and does a backflip.
Yeah, he's very. I mean, for such a big guy, it's amazing to see how big and like light on his feet he is.
The move that he did in episode 5, where he did almost like that really scary crawl, that backwards crawl, and then he lifted his legs up and then literally
talented.
That
very
move was
talented. presented.
Absolutely crazy. So just in case you guys are not watching the show, or you didn't get to watch episode 5, I think it was closer to the end. He almost did this really like Matrix-like, very scary like crab walk. On his fingers and toes,
lifts up slowly.
and then he lifts up slowly, and then slowly. It was just a crazy
Bolo,
move.
I mean, every week we know he's an entertainer.
Oh, yeah.
He's a comedian. But what makes me laugh is whenever Bolo is dancing, because he's like so big.
Yes.
And he's not as smooth as Penetration or like slow motion, but he could move for a big guy, which is surprising. So at the end of the episode, we have Anita giving her review of the show. But before we do that, let's talk about the men of Thunder from Down Under. We got some Australian eye candy this week.
I think one of them was at the show too last week.
Yes, they were. One of the guys from Thunder from Down Under was at the viewing party. Also, shout out to Kiana. It was her birthday last week. Prophet had a birthday recently as well, so happy birthday to everyone. But Thunder from Down Under, so you have the contrast. You have your, the black guys with the dash of white chocolate, and then you have all white guys from Australia. Did you see a difference in the way they performed?
Yeah, it's just more like, again, that's where you kind of go with preference. So they were definitely all prettier. So
I know.
I'm just not. Yeah, I'm not into. I mean, if we're both spending the same amount of time in the bathroom, it's just not. That's not my thing.
You don't. Okay, like I like a guy to be groomed. I do like when a guy shaves under his arms. That's.
Yeah, for sure.
I appreciate that. Because,
I appreciate that. Well, shave.
Chest,
just trim it all.
Yeah, that's helpful.
But the point where it's just like you're almost too pretty,
I feel like they can't
that.
help it. I feel like just that's how they make them in Australia.
Right. I have no problem with it. That's good for y'all, but just
I'll take it. Hey guys from Thunder from Down Under, you're welcome.
They just spend too much time in the bathroom. But I'm good.
So they performed, and do you feel like the Black Magic guys were kind of threatened by the Thunder guys because they were more experienced? I mean, they do 13 shows a week, and they've been performing they've been around for 28 years. That's amazing.
I think they were initially intimidated, but I think there's just a difference, and I'm really interested to see how the show will be in a Vegas atmosphere, because LA, you have a certain, Vivica's catering, not by design, but a certain clientele comes to Vivica's shows. Definitely. So Vegas is a totally different beast. So I'm really eager to see, because there's a whole bunch of undercurrents as far as a whole bunch of other stuff that I won't get into.
An audience needs.
That an audience needs, but on a historical, sexual level, that's all these other undercurrents that are going on. So it's gonna be really interesting to see if that's gonna pull out. Okay. And a lot of people are gonna go and see the show.
Now, Miss Anita Mann, who was so adorable, she liked the show, but she said that the guys didn't connect with the audience, which I found interesting, because do you feel like they even have enough time during their performances to really connect? But she's saying they should have connected with each other more, or connected with the other ladies in the audience more.
What she also said with Thunder Down Under was that their steps weren't as complex as Black Magic. So with their steps not being as complex, it gives them enough time to connect with the audience. Okay. When you have the steps a little bit more complex and you're doing more things, then you might be looking at somebody, but you're also making sure that you're in line with everybody else.
Sync, yeah.
So I think that's a note that Vivica should tell Darrin as far as the choreography, and kind of play that too, because I know anybody who does stage work, your goal is to connect with everybody, right? But when you have all that, and then you're adding people, like you have to kind of be in formation with everybody else, and you have a few days to learn it. Exactly. It's a little bit on the different level.
And I think the guys get an opportunity to connect during their solos with the ladies, because we've seen Slow Motion give the strawberries, and Bolo definitely does his part to make the ladies feel special. So I feel like when they're in a group, they got to be tough like men, and that's what the ladies want. But when it's the one-on-one opportunities, that's when they get to smooth it out.
Yeah. So
now, okay, do we have any predictions for next week?
Predictions?
Yes.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
I think.
Well, don't you know though?
I mean, no, I don't, because although, contrary to popular belief, I was there when we were shooting things, but I don't know how everything's been put together, and so I haven't seen it. I don't even remember, because this was last year, but I think, but definitely, I know we're going to see, you know, the guys improve over time.
Right.
I hope things continue to be good between Alvester and the group, because when he's not happy, I feel like it just throws everything off.
Which is an issue.
Yeah.
I hope that Vivica takes all those lessons from Mark Mann and Anita, and the costumes are going to be on another level.
Yeah.
Like the cowboy costumes were great
Yeah.
in episode 6, but it just felt very like cliche. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, okay, cowboy, carpenter, fireman.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think because after, it's just every week you're thinking of something
Right.
new, so it became hard after a while to
Right.
like recreate the wheel.
Totally get that, but I'm hoping that, you know, maybe there's gonna be, the costumes will be taken to another level. Maybe, you know, it's instead of 1 week out, you have like a week and a half, and this is gonna be something a little bit different. It might be a bigger venue.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then, you know, Alvester, if he does something else, I'm
You're
done.
done with him?
I'm
You're done with him?
And
Well-
great dancer, great personality, beautiful man.
Yeah.
But this is a business.
Okay, you hardcore. Well, thank you so much. Please continue to watch us each week here on Vivica's Black Magic After Show on AfterBuzz TV. Find us on YouTube and anywhere podcasts are played. My name is Tsahai Wilson, and you can find me on Snapchat, Instagram, and Twitter at Say Hi Tsahai. And TK, where can they find you?
You can find me at TK Trinidad on everything. So it's Trinidad like the country. There's issues with that. And also, don't forget to comment on all the YouTube videos, iTunes, all that other stuff. I do check on a daily basis because I'm obsessed with this show. So AfterBuzz AfterBuzz TV on everything as well.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
Ciao.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.